This is Christine with Trusty Training Services and 11-month-old Gigi at Puppy Boot Camp. We're getting ready to take her on a trip to the designated potty area. This is her first trip of the day, so she definitely needs to go to the bathroom. And I'm going to be integrating training into this trip to what we call the DPA. So one of the things I'm going to do is door etiquette. I'm also going to expect her to maintain the heel position with her focus on the handler and her nose off the ground until she is released into the designated potty area. So we'll get started. I'm waiting for the eyes, which is always a prerequisite to moving forward. Handler focus is a prerequisite to forward progress. I communicated clearly that I want her to wait. I'm going to proceed to open the door, keeping an eye on her. Where's her focus? That's going to tell me where her brain is. Gigi, through. When she comes out, I'm expecting her to look at me within 3 seconds, which she looked at me immediately, and that's good. And then we're going to start our trip. Heel. So I saw her focus deviate the moment I stepped forward, and for that reason, we stopped immediately. Heel. I want to see her checking in with me constantly. It's okay if she looks around, but her focus needs to come back to me every second or two if I'm going to avoid unnecessary corrections. So I'm going to use some tools to help with that. One is the slow down. So if I'm walking forward and I see her start to deviate a little bit, I might slow down to get her eyes back, and then I'll speed back up again, making the connection clear between handler focus and forward progress. Communicating clearly that I want her to wait, stepping off with the opposite leg because I'm leaving her behind. Now after she scratches, I can anticipate that she's going to lose her sit. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't, but I need to be ready for that. Waiting for steady eye contact before I move forward. Through. So she missed the eye contact within 3 seconds, so there's a correction. She's losing forward progress. Through. Let's see if she corrects her mistake. Very good. Heel. I'm watching where her focus is. If it deviates from me for more than a couple seconds, I'm going to do a slow down or an unexpected halt to help her. Heel. As soon as she gives me steady eye contact, I move forward again because I want her to really understand that handler focus is the key to forward progress. Potty. I make a clear gesture with the command so that she knows that she's released to go. Also notice that the leash has been loose this whole time, apart from when I've needed to communicate with her clearly about something. So even on the potty pattern, we're going to maintain a loose leash. I'm looking for her to stay focused on going to the bathroom. So what we're going to do is allow her to stop and sniff for a couple seconds, and then I'll jiggle the leash to get her to move on. If she doesn't move on, we'll practice leave it with some enforcement. There's never a time when I want this leash to be tight unless I'm needing to move her back to where she started like I did on the gate. At that point, yes, I tighten the leash and I get her back to where she needs to be very, very swiftly. Otherwise, we keep a loose leash. We're looking for her to do everything she needs to do out here because this is usually the time of morning when she needs to do more. And just keep, and yet give her some space. If she doesn't move along soon enough, we'll move her along. So there's a balance on this particular pattern of giving her space to relax and move around, but not allowing her to waste time and get too hung up on a particular smell, because at that point she's no longer really thinking about doing her business. She's completely focused on something else. And it usually takes a little bit more movement if they're going to be successful in having a bowel movement. And if she is successful, she gets freedom in the backyard a lot more quickly. If she's not successful, then we'll do some long line training first. We're also limiting the space out here so that she does not have unlimited room to sniff around. So I have basically 2 lengths of fence that I'm working with, and you can draw lines however makes sense to you in the location you're in, but it is important that the designated potty area has limited space so that there are not unlimited distractions. We want her to get kind of bored walking around the same area, and that will help her get down to business much more quickly. When I see that she's about to get to the end of the leash, I'm always going to proactively communicate with her by vibrating the leash so that she has that opportunity to make a good choice and come off of the pressure. So we want to teach her essentially to never pull on her leash. And if she focuses really intently on me and comes into my left side, that's usually the indication that at this point she doesn't feel the urge to go, and she's ready to move forward with something else. And there we have it. So I'll stop, she'll offer a sit, and then we'll move forward once she's focused. Heel. I'm going to watch her where she's looking, because where her eyes are determine where her mind is. If her eyes are not on me, her mind is not on me. So I'm also watching her facial expression. What are her ears doing? She's looking straight ahead, but she doesn't have any intense expression on her face, which tells me that even though she is focused on the cameraman, she's still thinking about me, which is what we want to see. Sit. Anytime she gets distracted like that, I know there's a potential for her to break her sit, so I need to be ready for that when she comes out of that distracted position. Through. Looking for the eyes within 3 seconds. There we go. Heel. Always stepping off with the leg closest to her when I want her to come with me. There's a correction for looking back too much at the cameraman. Once the leash engages, it quickly disengages so that I'm not forcing her head to come forward, but really incentivizing her to refocus on the handler. We're going to go into some long line training, and then I'm sure at that point she'll be able to complete her business in the designated potty area. This is Christine with Trusty Training Services. Leave it. Training built on trust. Happy training.